Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Markets didn't do too well today. They were down for the most part, along with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Miners were also down, so we'll take a look at what's going on there. And we'll also take a look at a story that we have from Mawson. They are selling their Greenfield, Texas site for $8.5 million. We'll take a look at that story. And then we'll take a look at Cleanspark really quick here. I updated their, that whole dashboard for them. So we're just going to go over what the changes are going to be going forward for some of the other miners as well. And then we'll also take a look at over here. We'll take a look at cost to mine Bitcoin, cost to mine 1 Bitcoin in Q4 of 2022. And it's actually up from where it was in Q3. So we'll take a look at all those numbers and I'll explain everything that goes into it, okay? But as always, you guys know the drill here, not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research and don't fall for scams. I'm investing in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into the markets here really quick. So the S&P was down today 0.01% to 4,154, and the Dow Jones was down 0.23% to 33,897. NASDAQ was also down just slightly, 0.02% to 13,088. Bitcoin right now is up a little bit. It's in the new day. On the old day, which was today, it went down quite a bit here to, went down 5.21% to close at 28,809. It bounced off of our support line here, which was nice to see. You can see it here on this line. And then if we look at the 1 hour chart, you can probably see it here. It bounced right off of that beautifully at 28,600. So that was really good to see that it did bounce off of that. Okay. We are kind of going back up on the 1 hour chart. We can see that the RSI bottomed twice here below the 30 RSI, meaning it was oversold once, kind of bounced a little bit and then came back down a little bit lower in price and then bounced again. We'll see if this continues. And we'll see if we can maintain this support at 28,600. Right now, it looks like we may support it here. On the 4 hour chart, we can see here also that we did bounce twice as well. We bounced once here, went up and came back down to a lower price where the RSI is still the same, but we did bounce off of that 28,600 mark, which I think is good, right? We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Our 200 weekly moving average is still way down here at 25,800. Roughly, so I think we're good there. I don't think we have to worry about possibly going back to it. If the support line doesn't hold, then we may see us bouncing off of that 200 weekly moving average, but we'll see. Okay, so that was Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Ethereum here really quick as well. Ethereum on the day was down quite a bit as well. It was down 8.07% to a close of 1,934. The RSI has come pretty nicely down here on the daily, on the 4 hour chart. You can see here that we are we were in the oversold territory. We did bounce up a little bit here just now within the last hour or so. 1 hour chart, you can see here also that we went way down on the RSI here to a low of approximately 17. So way oversold here, bounced a little bit and then went further back down. And we'll see if we get a reversal on this as well. Right now, it looks like they're going to be bouncing a little bit as they are. Yesterday, I spoke about Bitcoin actually going possibly down based on the 1 hour chart that I saw in the RSI where it looks like things were reversing a little bit for us. And so we got the reversal today. So that was a confirmation for me there. Okay. So that's it for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's take a look at the miners here really quick as well. And miners were down. Some were down more than others. And we'll take a look at it here. So ANY was down right now 4.49% on the day to a close of 44 cents. Argo was down 3.33% to $1.45. BitDigital was down 3.3% to $2.05. Bitfarms was down 6.4% to $1.17. Cypher was way down 11.87% to $2.45. Cleanspark was also down quite a bit here, 11.33% to $4.46. Cleanspark and Cypher both have had pretty nice run-ups here in the past month or so. Cleanspark is more so in the last weekend or so. So a little bit of a pullback is nice to see. Gives us a little bit more room to run up. And then Core Scientific was down 7.7% to 38 cents. DigiHost was down 10.58% to $1.86. DMG was down 3% to 23 cents. Greenidge was down 8.64% to 63 cents. Hive was down 8.35% to $3.62. HUD 8 was down 7.8% to $1.89. Iris was down 7.13% to $4.30. Marathon was down 8.73% to $10.66. Mawson was actually up to date 1.25% to $3.25, possibly on the news that they sold their facility. And Riot was down 9.96% to $12.11. Soluna was down 2.27% to 25 cents. Stronghold was down 4.42% to $1.08. TerraWolf was down 6.41% to $1.46. So that's all the miners right there. So pretty bad day. We had one day that was good yesterday. Monday was pretty bad, so we're kind of bouncing a little bit here. We'll see how this continues going forward into Thursday and Friday, okay? Next, let's take a look at the network hash rate a little bit. Here we got some updates on that one, and we can see here that the 7-day average went back up to 351 million terahashes per second on the daily, or on the 7-day average. On the 1-day average, we went up here, it looks like, to a high of 395 million, and then came back down to 330 million, it looks like right now. So we are still climbing up in the upward direction, looks like. All right, so that's it for the news here, or the news, the markets. Let's take a look at the news story that we do have here and get into some of the other data that we do have. So Mawson Infrastructure Group, Inc. sells Greenfield, Texas site for 8.5 million. And they've been consolidating, and this is the second site they sold. The first site they sold was in Georgia to Cleanspark. This was back in September, October area time frame, and I think it finalized in December. So that's the second one that they sold. So Mawson announces today that it has signed and closed a binding sale agreement for Mawson's Greenfield site in Midland, Texas, effective April 18th, 2023. The sale price was 8.5 million in cash and stablecoins. Stablecoins, I'm guessing, well, USDC maybe or something like that. The transaction involved the sale of 100% of Mawson's subsidiary, Luna Squares Texas LLC, which held the relevant lease agreements and related contracts. So that was all part of the deal. In addition, Mawson sold 59 transformers, which were earmarked for these Texas sites, which is fine there. They're still working on their Pennsylvania site, so that's fine. The buyer is a fund managed by Mainnet Capital, a Singapore-based fund manager called M. Turing VCC Oracle Phase 1 Fund. That's a pretty long name there. The sale of the Texas site allows Mawson to focus all attention on its current 240 megawatt facilities in Pennsylvania. So this will be good for them because they're going to be geographically in the same area. The proceeds of the sale will be used to further debt reduction, so that's good there, as well as funding future expansion across Mawson's other sites, including the acquisition of additional ASIC miners. So that's good news there because they definitely need to grow, and it's good that they were paying down debt as well. So I think this is all good news for them. That's why I think the stock actually went up today because of that news on it, okay? So that's it for that news story that we do have here. And then let's get into just Cleanspark really quick here. I'll show you guys what we're kind of working with as far as the new dashboard is for all the metrics that I've been working on here, and been getting quite a lot of good input from you guys as well. So thank you for that. Not only from Twitter, from YouTube, and from Patreon as well. So thank you to everyone that has chimed in on this. This definitely helps. But I wanted to make it more visually appealing and easier to see all the data all at once prior to what we had before. And I think this will definitely get the job done for us, which makes it great for everybody involved. Okay, so a couple of things are going to stay the same. Obviously, we still have the whole information here as far as shares, stock price, market cap, all of that stuff is still there. The 52-week high, 52-week low, and then the 1 week, 4 week, 8 week, and 12-week performance so far, that's still there that we had in the prior one. Current hash rate, future hash rate left is new, so that's calculating how much hash rate they're going to be still growing. Percentage operational and hash rate growth is still in there. Number of miners is still the same. Hash rate average per miner is the same. And then Bitcoin HODL, BTC value, HODL market cap, and 1 share equals whatever it is. So that's all there. All of this stuff down here is all new information, or at least expanded information. We had a lot of this stuff in the data, in the spreadsheets. Now we're presenting it to you guys this way, which I think is a lot better, right? So you can see we're tracking BTC. We're running a 12-month average on that one. Not a 12-month average, but 12 months of data on it. And we're going to continue doing that going forward for all this, and we'll see how companies are improving or not improving based on BTC production. And you can see here Cleanspark has been doing pretty well here going forward. They have been increasing. Have had a little bit of a dip here in the last 2 months, but still in the upward trajectory. And then a couple of charts here that we do have, these donut charts. We provide, this is the market cap of the company and the BTC value. So if you take the market cap and subtract basically the HODL value, which is right here, you get the percentages of what each one represents on that one. Hash rate left to install, this is representing that. Future hash rate is where they're going to be. Bitcoin HODL is what they currently are HODLing, what they sold in the month, and then BTC, what they generated in the month. So you get a nice little chart of all that that's included there. Monthly difference, this is the hash rate increase or decrease depending, or Bitcoin generated, Bitcoin revenue, Bitcoin mined, I guess, what I'm trying to say. So that's the monthly difference on that one. I should probably label that as month over month Bitcoin difference. And you can see how each month they're either going up in generating more Bitcoins or less some months, and that's shown in here quite easily. Then we also have the BTC per exahash in here, which you can see how that has been coming down. We've seen that for pretty much all the miners. I'm going to try and add in here the average for the miners. I'll probably break them down into groups as well, possibly, if I can do this. No promises here, but I'll try to get it broken down into large miners, mid miners, or medium miners, and small miners. And then we'll kind of see how those are comparable to each other. Okay, so that's kind of one of the plans I have there. Then we have the BTC HODL over the months. How that has progressed or gone up or gone down. With Cleanspark, it obviously has come down, but they have been growing tremendously here, so that's okay. And then here we have how much they sold as far as Bitcoins. We can see that they've been selling pretty consistently around the 500 mark. Sometimes we get a little bit above that, around 836 here in October. And in February of this year as well, they sold quite a bit here, but they did buy a lot of miners. In February, I believe it was at those S19 Pro Pluses that they purchased. So I think that was part of that reasoning there. Okay, so that's the first page here. The second page has hash rate and revenue. So here we're looking at how well they've grown their hash rate, which is the first chart over here. We're also looking at hash rate growth month over month. So we can see here if they're growing nicely each month, or if there's a pause in the growth, or if they're declining. In some instances, we have miners that have declined. And then we're looking also at the monthly revenue based on the Bitcoins that they did mine for that, and then Bitcoin sold value. So we can compare it to see how much they generated in Bitcoin and how much they actually sold. Is it more than they generated or less? We can compare it really quickly here. And then we were looking at the last 4 quarters of revenue. And we also have the current quarter estimated here, which is in black as well, to kind of show where the current quarter is looking at. So this would be Q1 for them right now. So we've seen that they have been coming down here through Q4, and then Q1 and Q2 for them is going to be a nice improvement here overall. Then the last 4 quarters operating costs, these are pretty tied in together. So you can see on the chart that's 44 million for the top here. We can kind of see where those costs have been at. And Q1, they did have quite a bit of costs here on that one. Okay, so that's page 2. And then page 3, we get into some other metrics as well that I thought would be kind of interesting to see. So I added in here cost to mine 1 BTC minus depreciation. So I try to get this as accurate as possible. Some miners provide pretty good information that's broken down really well. Others put a lot of stuff into their operating costs that jack their prices up on BTC production. So I'll try and explain those when I do see those. But we see that. We also see the Bitcoin mined quarterly. Is that increasing? Is that decreasing? That's always a good cue there. And then we also have debt to equity ratios. Lower is always better. Current ratio, higher is always better on that one. So we can see how they're progressing that over the last 4 quarters. And then total current assets, we can see what's going on there as far as how their assets are performing. This is basically 12 months worth of assets they have available to them. And then total current liabilities as far as how that stacks up. And that obviously coincides with the current ratio for these guys as well. Now, we also included in here the institutions and analyst ratings. So we'll keep that in here. So that's kind of a good thing to have, I think, to see what the analysts are thinking at. And then also where I'm seeing them based on the current revenue that they have for the quarter, which they're in. And then we're looking at the last 3 quarters, which are already official. So those are official numbers from them. And then we're looking also at the combined total, which is an estimate based on the quarter that we just finished up here. And then we're looking at 50% net income from gross revenue, what that number is. And then we're doing a multiple PE of 20 for these guys. We can dial that down if need be to come down a little bit if we think they're not growing much, and they may not get to that PE of 15 or 20. With the way Cleanspark is growing, I have a PE of 20, so I'm expecting them to be somewhere around $16.33 to potentially $24.49. And we can see that they are currently at $5.03, which tells me that they are undervalued right now, which is kind of the rating that I'm giving them at the moment. All right, so that's all the same. Well, that's all new information here. Some of this has been just updated for the look to make it easier for you guys to see. And then all the data that I still have is still way down here. This is raw data down here on them that we track every single month on all of these miners that I cover. We track their Bitcoin production, their how much they hodl, how much they sold, everything like that, how much they've grown. Then the miners, which miners were installed, how many days they were operating. All of that stuff is being tracked here. We also have their financials in here as well quarterly, so we can do a lot of things with this data as well. And we'll see, maybe we get more input. We'll put more stuff into these upper charts. So I just want to kind of go over this really quick with you guys, just to kind of show you what is in the works. And this will be coming down, obviously, for all the rest of the miners as well. This should be done before, I'm guessing, probably by the, not that one. I didn't want that one. Where did it go? This one. That should be done probably, I'm hoping to have everything done for all the miners before they start reporting their production updates for this current month of April. So that's kind of the plan there, okay? Let me know what you guys think. I think a lot of you guys are for this. It makes it a lot easier for you guys, but let me know if I can improve this anyway to make it easier for you guys, okay? So that's it on that one. Let's take a look at the cost to mine Bitcoin for all the miners for Q4. And here's what the numbers that we do have for them. Couple things to note. I didn't include in here Cypher. Cypher only started mining for themselves, I believe it was in December. So we don't have any real data on them for Q4. We'll get that data in Q1 of this year, which will be nice because before that they were mining, but they were getting only, well, they were mining with a joint venture, which they only had a 49% stake in that. So they were reporting whatever that was generated in Bitcoins was being put on there as assets, I believe, based on the reporting requirements for that. So that's why we don't have any data for Cypher right now. Also, Argo, Bit Digital, and Core has not provided their Q4 results. So those are omitted, and there might be other ones here as well that I just don't have the data on them. So these are the ones that we do have here. And this is based on Q3 comparison versus Q4 of 2022. So we got Marathon, Sphere, DMG, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Riot, Hive, TerraWolf, Hut 8, DigiHost, and Mawson in here. Okay. So the way I did this, I took the number of Bitcoins that they mined for that quarter Q3 and Q4, also what their Q3 costs were reported in both of those months. So if we look at ones here for Marathon, cost of revenues, energy, hosting, and other things, this is what they're reporting here. So it's all in there under that one for them. And then we were using the Q3 and then Q4 numbers for it. And for the ones that are kind of off here, which let me see if I can find one. TerraWolf, I can see why they're off here a lot, especially in Q3 compared to Q4. But what else did I see that was kind of high up here? Mawson was also pretty high here as well for this one. So if you look at this one here, 18, this is what they reported, 14, 18, but they also had a lot of curtailment done. They did get energy for it. So this is less cost of revenues, excluding depreciation. So that's, I don't know how much they put into it all, but they put in a lot, obviously, into it. And that's kind of the numbers we're getting for it. So it would be nice to have it broken down with just energy and maybe the operations side of things. So much would it actually cost for them? If all the miners could do that, that would be great. But this is kind of the things I'm dealing with here with the numbers that are provided for us, okay? So there's some of the explanations for it. Let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for them. And we'll do it on right here. So we'll do Q4 really quick here as far as how it looks. Then we'll do a comparison between Q3 and Q4 as well. So Marathon came in at number 1 right now with, based on the information that's provided, at approximately $10,158 per Bitcoin to mine one. Sphere came in at number 2 at $10,169. Then we got DMG at $11,941. Bitfarms came in at $12,157. Cleanspark at $13,335. Riot pretty close to that as well, $13,362. Hive pretty close to that as well, $13,638. I'm guessing that's kind of like the sweet spot right now for the miners. The ones that are a little bit below that, I wonder if they're not providing all the information in their numbers, but it's still not that bad. I think the difference is pretty close to where we've seen it before. So I'm leaning to believe that these numbers are pretty close to what they actually are. TerraWolf at 13,966, which is really good too. They just really started ramping up production as well, so that's good to see. That actually came down quite nicely from Q3. Then we got Hut 8. Hut 8 is another one where they also have well, let's just take a look at Hut 8, and I'll provide you guys with that information here. And let's see here. Hut 8, site operation costs, they don't break it down based on high performance computing, self-mining, and then they also, yeah, so they don't split those up. It's all in one cost. So I could possibly figure out the percentage that they got of revenue and then subtract that from the expense side of things. Maybe that would get us a little bit closer, but that's kind of what I'm dealing with on that one. Got to think about how I want to do that one. So DigiHost or Hut 8, obviously pretty high there, 23,000. I'm guessing they're going to be closer to probably 13, 14,000 After that, depending on the pricing that they had, obviously for the electricity in Canada at that time, they are dealing with a lawsuit with one of their providers. So that's in the works. So that one's kind of off a little bit, I think. And then DigiHost also came in at 47,633. That's a weird one too here. You can see here that they reported 9 million in cost of power, which is kind of strange based on where they were the prior quarters. So they reported for fiscal year 2022 a total of 14.5 million. And based on that information, when we looked at Q1, Q2, and Q3, you can see that their power costs were way down here. I don't know why this one is so high at 9,000 or 9,186,000 for Q4. Based on if I take the fiscal year 22 numbers and subtract the first 3 quarters, that's the number I get. So don't know if there's something wrong there or not, or if I just made a mistake on it, but that's kind of what we're looking at here on that one, okay? So that's how that one's shaped up. Mawson is at 61,265. Now Mawson also has, take a look at Mawson here really quick as well. That one came in at pretty high here. They didn't mine a lot. They only mined 110 Bitcoins during the quarter, looks like, which could be the reason why. But they have been doing more of hosting than anything else. And I think that's the hosting that's driving this price of Bitcoin for them way up, because we don't have it split up between hosting and self-mining. Okay, so that's kind of the explanation there. And I would expect it to be, I would hope that it's going to be much lower than where it is right now at 61,000. So that one's probably way off on that based on what I just spoke about, okay? Now, if we look down here at the differences between Q3 and Q4, we can see that Marathon in Q3 was way up there at 22,035. They're down now to 10.16 thousand, which is more in line where I think they should be. Then Spheres that was at 15,000 in Q3, down to 10, so that's good. DMG, pretty close to where they were before, about 1,000 less, 12.89 in Q3 and 11.94 in Q4. And then Bitfarms went up a little bit here from 10.22 to 12.16, and that's okay. We know that electricity prices went up a little bit, so I think that has an effect on it. And then also the Cleanspark here, 8.12K in Q3 to 13.34. They obviously had a lot more machines get installed. I think that's the reason for that. They did some curtailing also. I believe it was in December a little bit there. I think that maybe that's why that's offset a little bit there. Riot, pretty close to where they were also, down a little bit though, from 14.02 to 13.36, so that's good. Hive, on the other hand, is way up here from 9.89 to 13.64, and that could be also based on that during Q3, they were still mining Ethereum a little bit for about, what was that, about a half, it was, let me see here, July, August, for, well, a majority of the month, it looks, or majority of the quarter. So that's possibly why that was down lower. Obviously, they had better economics that way. That stopped in Q4, so we saw the price go back up to where some of these other miners are. TeraWulf was starting out, so that's expected to be at 44.28 thousand per Bitcoin because they were just ramping up production. Now they're back down to 13.97, which is good. And then Hut 8 was at 20.64 back then, up a little bit to 23.21. And then DigiHost was, like I said, at 15.94, which seems more in line here than the 47,000. So I think there's either something wrong with my math or something wrong with their math. And then Mawson has stayed pretty close to where they were before as well. 64, down a little bit to 61. So like I said, I think they're including the hosting in there as well, which is skewing these numbers quite a bit here, okay? So that is it. Like I said, it's going to be pretty fast and easy to get through it. And we'll update this once we get quarter Q1 results, okay? So that is it. Let me know what you guys thought of all this, if you enjoyed it or not, if you like the new spreadsheets and all the dashboards stuff, and we'll go from there. As always, spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members, so thank you to everyone there for their continued support. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting on not only Twitter, YouTube, and Patreon. Love hearing from you guys. Love discussing with you guys there. So thank you very much for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.